Welcome to session 16. We've been doing a lot of work in the Old Testament. Now we turn our focus to the New Testament, to the first 4 books of the Bible called the Gospels. The Gospels is one story, different dimensions. Gospels, the word, is a 2-part English word that means, the first one is Godspell, meaning good news, which translates into the Greek word evangelion, which is the good news. The Gospels are good news. The Gospels are not books by Jesus, but books about Jesus. And so they contain the largest collection of his teaching, stories, narration, ministry, his death and resurrection. So Matthew, Mark, and Luke are known as the synoptics. So think about the 2 words like synthesize is to bring together, and optic is vision. Synoptic means there's 3 views of Jesus' life: Matthew, Mark, and Luke, the synoptic Gospels. And so there's different perspectives of the life of Jesus. The 4th Gospel, John, reads differently than Matthew, Mark, and Luke. John is not so concerned with chronology as he is of theology. And so John is going to read different than Matthew, Mark, and Luke. So why are there 4? The reason is that different Christian communities each had a need for a book about Jesus, and they're applied to different people. For instance, Mark is written to Gentiles, non-Jewish people, whereas Matthew is written to Jews. And so all of these different viewpoints were needed in the early church, and so they wrote these books for the early church. Here's some exegesis of the Gospels. Requires us to think both in terms of the historical setting of Jesus and the historical setting of the authors themselves. So here's a few pointers on Matthew. As I said, Matthew is written to a Jewish audience. He quotes the Old Testament over 100 times. As a Jew reading about the Jewish Messiah in Matthew's Jewish gospel, you would think that, of course, there would be over 100 references to the Old Testament. Matthew is written as a descendant of Abraham. Jesus fulfills the Old Testament promises. So again, you see the Jewishness of Matthew. Mark, look at verse 1. Mark is authored by John Mark, who is a friend and apostle of Peter. Peter is the apostle, the disciple of Jesus, narrates Mark to John Mark, and John Mark is writing everything down. Mark is the shortest of the Gospels and the first one that we have. They don't know when it was written, but they think it's written anywhere between about 35 and 50 AD, anywhere between 5 and 15 to 25 years after the life of Jesus, the first Gospel that we have. Mark presents Jesus to the Roman Empire. It's written to Gentiles. If you want to see an evidence of that, go to Mark chapter 7, verse 3. Luke was a doctor, a medical doctor, researched the eyewitness evidence of the life of Jesus. You can read the beginning of Luke's gospel. Luke is the only non-Jewish writer in the New Testament. Very interesting perspective. He wrote after Mark and Matthew, and Luke traces Jesus' lineage all the way back to Adam. Luke is so concerned about the marginalized, how Jesus treats those on the margins of society, the children, the women, the Gentiles, and the poor. John, the last gospel written between 85 and 95 AD. John, the first chapter of John, echoes the beginning of the Bible, and John is talking about a new creation in Jesus Christ, that Jesus has come as God to bring a new creation. Jesus uses God's name, his signature name, in John 8:58, saying, I am, before Abraham was, I am. And so you have the 7 statements, I am statements of Jesus in John's gospel, really painting a clear picture of the Christology of who Jesus is, or his Christology. And the purpose statement is in John 20, verse 31. The Gospels just give us the historical Jesus, teaching, ministry, death, burial, and resurrection. And the kingdom of God is here at Jesus' arrival, but it's not yet. What I want you to do is I want you to read the first chapter of every gospel and see how they are setting up the gospel, their own gospel, differently. It'll be a worthwhile exercise for you. Enjoy it.